So much. Some significant decisions came down today at Austin City Hall. These impact everything from tourists to housing affordability and the look of our city. KXAN's Grace Reader has been monitoring all of that today. What a busy day it's been for you.
It has indeed.
Well, we appreciate you joining us for this update. I want to start with talking about additional regulations for short-term rentals. Those are things like Airbnbs and Verbos, I would imagine. What did city leaders do today?
Yeah, that's exactly what short-term rentals are. And the city, you might remember, has been working on this for a really long time, for years. So the city has struggled to have any teeth to regulate short-term rentals. Right now in the city of Austin, you need a license to operate a short-term rental, but a lot of people don't follow that. There are thousands of short-term rentals in our city that are not licensed and therefore really hard to regulate. So these new rules help address some of that. Some of those rules include individuals that have more than one property with short-term rentals on them. Those have to be 1,000 feet apart at least. There's also rules for things that look like apartment complexes, so you couldn't buy an apartment complex and fill it entirely with short-term rentals. So those are some rules to sort of spread out where short-term rentals are in our city. As far as regulating these permits, they are also making it so that you must list the city license number in the advertisement online. Otherwise, the city could reach out to companies like Airbnb and Vrbo and delist your property.
Okay, so this is the second time this year, because I believe you talked about this quite a few times before in the past few months, that the council has passed regulations about these kinds of short-term rentals. How do these differ from what was approved back in February?
Sure. So in February, they took the initial steps, but they wanted to pause on some of these other things to wait till the session was over. So what they did in February was they made it so that hotel occupancy tax could be collected and has to be collected from these short-term rentals the same way that it is from hotels. And the city has already collected millions of dollars in hotel occupancy tax from these short-term rentals since they did that. They also moved these regulations from their land development code to their business code.
And the council also talked about one other thing, a big thing for our community, housing affordability, and creating some sort of new fund that could help preserve some of those units here in the city. How would that fund work exactly?
Sure. So they have the benefit of actually an assistant city manager here in Austin used to work in Dallas, and he crafted a very similar fund in Dallas. So they are using his expertise for this. But basically, the city would put some money into a fund, and they're not sure how much that's going to be yet or where that money is going to come from. This just kickstarts the process. They'll put it into a fund, and that signals to the philanthropic and the banking community, hey, we're serious about this. Can you give us some money for this? Worked in Dallas. Sounds easy. Sounds too easy to be true, but it's worked in other parts of the country, so the city's trying it. That money would then be used to preserve affordable units, and it wouldn't be like subsidizing rent is something you hear a lot about. That's not what this would be. It would be for projects where apartment complex needed a facelift, they needed some work done, utilities needed to be fixed, things like that. The city could go into a property owner and say, hey, we have this much money, we can help you with these capital projects that you need to do, don't have the money to do. In return, though, you need to keep some of these units affordable for the next 20 and 30 years.
Okay, and I know you'll be following that as it's implemented and seeing where it goes from here, but what about some of the other items that were on the agenda? It was of course lengthy, but one thing that I think you have highlighted this week especially is about graffiti removal.
We hear a lot from people about graffiti. I think before, this is another instance where the city didn't really have teeth to enforce graffiti, specifically when it comes to private property. So if you called 311, which thousands of people have done over the past few years, you call the city and you say, hey, there's this really ugly graffiti on this building, but if the city doesn't own it, they haven't had a lot of teeth to be able to clean that up. So this changes those rules. So now the city of Austin can respond to those 311 complaints on private property more easily by being able to go work with those property owners, and the city actually could paint over some of that graffiti themselves. So this is going to be a one-year pilot program. They're going to see how this works, see how it goes with property owners, but it just gives them a little bit more teeth in that arena.
Will also be interesting to see how that is implemented too.
Yes,
so Grace, I know you all can read more about what she's reported from Austin City Council's meeting today on our website, KXAN.com, but thanks again for being with us.
Of course, Will.
All right.